Worst draft in the NFL by far. I have absolutely no idea what their front office is thinking.
All right, so I raved about the Falcons in the offseason because they finally got rid of their sorry excuse for a head coach. And they got in a better head coach, and then they went and did this. So I'm not really sure what they're doing here, but I mean, I'm gonna have to give these guys a D. I just Nick, was that your reaction or did you yawn?
I didn't do anything.
Oh, I thought you were like.
No.
But anyways, though, I'm gonna have to give these guys a D, and here's my thoughts behind this. All right, I feel really bad for Michael Penix because he's a great player who has just worked his butt off throughout like 5 years of college to get to where he's at
Came
right
back
now.
from multiple season-ending injuries in college.
So I love Michael Penix. He's a great player and he's a great worker. I really like Michael Penix a lot. I think he's a good player, and I just love his like work ethic and stuff. This pick was just bad, like, and it's not because Michael Penix. It's just because of the situation. Because the Falcons just did not need this at all in the slightest. That's why this was a bad pick, and that's mainly why they're getting a D, because you bring in Kirk Cousins to a 4-year deal, all right? And now, yes, I understand. He's like 35 coming off a torn Achilles. I mean, I think he's going to be fine. Obviously, we've seen what Aaron Rodgers has been doing coming off of a torn Achilles, and he's like 40-something. So I think Kirk Cousins is going to be fine. I don't understand this pick. You bring in Kirk Cousins, you would think that you would want to get guys around him on the defensive side or even the offensive side to surround him with a better team and make his job easier, make his life better, and win the division, which this is a very winnable division. I don't get this. I just don't understand this pick. I love Michael Penix. He's a great player. This pick just doesn't make sense to me at all. They're trying to do the Falcons thing. Or not they're trying to do the Packers Jordan Love thing, and they should have probably took McCarthy because McCarthy's 21, Penix is like 24. I just don't understand this pick at all, and that's mostly why they're getting a D. But if we look beyond that, they go tackle from Clemson in the second, or defensive tackle from Clemson in the second. I mean, that's a solid pick. Always good to have anchors on the defensive line. They definitely focused defense. They went tackle, edge, and linebacker for the next 3 rounds. So definitely focusing the defense, which that's good. But yeah, I mean, overall, I'm just not really a fan of this draft. I'm gonna have to give them a D. I think they had the worst draft in the NFL probably.
Yeah, the Falcons are getting an F. Worst draft in the NFL by far. I have absolutely no idea what their front office is thinking. It actually angers me that these guys.
See, now everybody else is feeling the Falcons.
What
anger.
are they
this
doing?
It's
not just the Michael Penix thing either. You draft Rook Aurora with the 4th pick in the second round.
35th
okay,
pick, yeah.
Johnny Newton is there. He's there. He's sitting there. Okay, you want to address defensive line. Johnny Newton is way better than Aurora is. No disrespect to him, but I thought Johnny Newton should have been drafted in the first round, and he's sitting there at pick 35. Well, 95% of people have a first round grade on him, and you take the dude from Clemson, and then you go and you address running back in the 6th round. You drafted Bijan last year.
And they still have
that's 3 wasted picks now. That's 3 wasted picks that you just didn't need at all. I mean, Braylon Trice, he's a decent edge player. After that, once you get to the 4th, 5th round, it's are these guys really going to have an impact? I mean, someone probably will across the NFL in the 4th or 5th round, but are these guys really going to be good players at the NFL level. I don't really know, but the Michael Penix pick. I still don't know what they're thinking. It's different from the Packers and Jordan Love situation, obviously, because like Jordan Love was 21 when the Packers drafted him. Michael Penix is 24.
But that's what they're trying to do, though.
I know I know that's what they're trying to do, but I don't know how much more room Michael Penix has to grow as a quarterback. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like he's not. There's only so much more he can learn. He's almost 20. He's 24.
Yeah, I really like. I mean, this is no disrespect to Michael Penix at all. I really respect him.
No,
and
I think Michael Penix could be decent at the NFL level. He just got put into the worst possible situation.
Yeah, I mean, this is just unfortunate for him, and this is just a bad pick for the Falcons. I didn't even think about that they just drafted a running back last year, and they still have a young. Yeah, I mean, their running back room is like all under 24, 25. This was, I mean, there was just so many useless picks in this draft.
I don't know what they were thinking.
This is a foolish franchise.
And
they hire foolish coaches and they draft foolishly.
And also the Penix situation. Remember last year when the Lions drafted Jahmyr Gibbs at 12, and we were all kind of like, why are you drafting Jahmyr Gibbs? You've got
that was a little
David
different
Montgomery.
again, though.
Yeah, but the difference is Jahmyr Gibbs was going to play. Like, we knew when he got drafted, we're like, okay, at worst, Jahmyr Gibbs is going to, like, split carries with David Montgomery. Or I think DeAndre Swift might have been there, and then they traded him afterwards. I don't know.
The issue with that one was more so, like...
And you just didn't really need a running back?
Yeah, but this one was like, why?
Yeah, everyone knew Jahmyr Gibbs was a phenomenal, like, back. And he was going to get playing time. You can only have one quarterback on the field throwing a football.
Yeah.
Like, Michael Penix is not going to see the field at all, barring injury, for the next 2, maybe 3 years.
Uh-huh.
So I know they're trying to do the Packers Jordan Love thing. I don't understand it with Penix's injury history and his age currently. I thought they massively reached in the second round. They wasted a pick in the 6th round. Terrible draft. Awful draft by the Falcons.
I would just never understand why they chose to do the Packers thing with Penix instead of McCarthy.
Yeah,
I don't understand that. I don't get that. Evan.
All right. I am going to do my best to make sense of the Penix pick. So, it came out, Penix was their QB2. They had him over Drake May. They had him over JJ. And one of the big reasons why they ended up drafting Penix where they did was when the Falcons fired Dan Quinn back in, 2020. Raheem Morris was the intern head coach. And then obviously he didn't get re-upped and they hired Arthur Smith. And then during his interview back then for the head coaching job, Raheem Morris stressed that they were going to need a backup plan with Matt Ryan because Matt Ryan, he knew, was only going to be there for 1 or 2 more years, and he stressed to them that we need a backup plan. We need a backup plan. And Arthur Smith came in and he was like, "Hey, I'm a quarterback guy. I'm going to figure it out. Don't worry about it." And obviously their next 3 starters were Marcus Mariota, Desmond Ridder, and Taylor Heineke, and they were 7 and 10 at best for all 3 of those seasons. And so once Raheem Morris gets signed officially as the coach this year, he stresses again, "Hey, we now have Kirk Cousins. He's coming off an Achilles injury. He's 35. He's under yes, we paid him a lot of money. He's under contract for 4 years, but after 2 years, it starts going into non-guaranteed money. We can get off of that if we have to." And so he was like, again, stressing, draft a quarterback. We need a backup plan for quarterback, just in case Cousins isn't who we think he is, and we're not in the same situation we were the last couple of years. And that's one of the sides. Another side was you saw what teams were willing to give up to trade into the top 3 to get guys like Jaden and Drake. I think the Pats got offered 3 first-round picks by the Vikings, 2 and a couple day 2 picks from other teams. And so the Falcons were like, all right, well, we don't want to give up future assets to go get a quarterback 2-3 years down the line. So let's just draft one now and not have to worry about that. Now, here's my take on this. Was it the correct decision at 8? No. I think I love Penix. I think Penix is a great quarterback, and I think him in the Falcons offense, minus Kirk Cousins, he would thrive there. I think he would be very good in that offense. But what this pick now does is this creates turmoil in the locker room between Kirk Cousins and Michael Penix. Kirk Cousins, all he's ever wanted in his entire career was stability and from the front office, which he had in Minnesota and he thought he had in Atlanta. But immediately after signing him, you draft a quarterback for the future, which to me tells Kirk Cousins, hey, we just gave you all this money, but we don't really believe that you are going to do what we want you to do, so we're going to have a backup plan. So he's kind of walking on eggshells now. Like, if he struggles one game or struggles in the playoffs like he usually does, fans are going to be like, all right, we want Penix, we want Penix, we want Penix. So that creates inner turmoil, in the locker room, which you never want to do when you're rebuilding a team. And like I mentioned, when they first drafted him, I'm sure all of you guys saw our reactions to that pick. At the earliest, Michael Penix won't play till he's 26. And that's if Kirk is only there for 2 years. And so realistically, he'll probably play when he's around 27, 28. But again, I think Penix is a phenomenal player. I think he fits well in this offense. But at where they picked him at 8 with needs that they needed to fill, and that now that they're in a position to win the division, it's questionable. But I can see some of their reasonings, but it still, for me, doesn't justify picking a 24-year-old quarterback at pick 8 in the top 10. But I see the path more than I saw when they first drafted him.
It's shaky at best. Even
yes, it might.
I mean, even
it
still,
could
why
work
not
out,
McCarthy?
but it also might not work out. I don't know. Well, they like
I
Penix
realize
a lot
they had-
better than McCarthy. So
Yeah,
you just
well,
get your guy.
Penix is better than McCarthy, and they had him higher than McCarthy, yes, but just the age, man.
Yeah, but quarterbacks can play till they're 35, 37, so it might be okay. But
I know, but it's just
for the rest of the draft, you
know.
went yes, the Michael Penix pick. Moving on from that, like Nick said, you not only did they draft Rucororo over Johnny Newton, they traded up 8 spots to get Rucororo over Johnny Newton, which makes absolutely zero sense because Johnny Newton was a first-round talent, and they needed defensive line help, and they drafted the wrong one and traded up for the wrong one. And then the rest of the draft picks didn't do anything really to win now. So really my only issue with this draft is they overdrafted players, and they didn't draft any players who are going to help them win now, which I believe they are in a win now mode because the division is wide open. So for that reason, I'm giving them a C-.
Wow, you gave him higher than me and Nick.
I slightly see the vision, but it's still confusing.